We now have a moderate 4 out of 5 risk for severe weather across portions of the Midwest tomorrow. Our Atlantic Disturbance 1 now has a 60% chance of tropical development over the next 48 hours. You can see this large area of convection that is slowly making its way into the northwestern Gulf. And this is bringing with it the potential for heavy downpours, excessive rainfall for days across portions of the Gulf states and deep south. It's Tuesday, June 16th, 2026. I'm going to start this video off by talking about our severe weather, and then we're going to transition into the tropical update. We did get an upgrade overnight into a moderate risk. So like I said, 4 out of 5 risk for portions of Illinois and Indiana. This does include a 15% SIG-2 risk for tornadoes. This SIG-2 does mean that the SPC or Storm Prediction Center does think we could see tornadoes as strong as EF3+. And you can see that larger 5% SIG-1 stretching through portions of Missouri, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, southern Michigan, and southeastern Iowa. So there will be the potential in these regions as well for EF2+ tornadoes. Now, risk zones always shift, they expand, they shrink, they move around until the day of. And that's because as new model data gets in, of course, there needs to be adjustments. So if you're in these risk zones or even anywhere around them, make sure you are staying updated, especially if you're in portions of northeastern Missouri and then Illinois and Indiana. We have a large wind threat, 5, 15, and 30% SIG-1 risk zone for damaging winds that stretches all the way from Kansas up through portions of Ohio and Michigan. And then that most significant hail threat is focused through portions of northeastern Missouri, southeastern Iowa, and then west central to northwestern Illinois. All right, so let's dive into the latest parameters with our severe weather setup on Wednesday. Here's as we get into the morning hours. You can see in this top left screen, nice 500 millibar flow beginning to move into the Midwest. Bottom left screen, we have that nice LLJ low-level jet. You can still see, though, it's pretty cool, this top right screen here. Pretty cool conditions up here, especially of the upper Midwest into the Great Lakes region, and our dew points are beginning to rise as well. But there is some warm air and significant dew points beginning to rise up here as we get into the early afternoon. Let's push a little bit further here. We're going to get into around 3 p.m. and you start to see some short waves develop, and our 500 millibar jet in this top left screen dig, and our low level jet is digging as well. Still pretty cool out in this region. Let's get into around 5, 6 p.m. Now, if you take a look at this bottom left screen, our low-level jet here at the 850 level is cranking. This is a lot of wind shear across portions of Illinois, Indiana, potentially even into western Ohio and southern Michigan. And if you notice the top left screen, we have a significant jet streak at the 500 millibar level as well. So this is going to help with the organization of our storms. The one thing I do notice, though, is it does look like our warm boundary is just a little bit to the south. I mean, we're not even breaking the 70s really up here through portions of northern Illinois, northern Indiana, and mid 70s, you have to almost go halfway down the state at this time. So there's a little bit of a struggle with the warm air advection to the north. And if we can't get that warm air a little bit further north, I think we could struggle with a little bit of instability up in this region here where we're expecting these potential very strong tornadoes where we have that 15% SIG-2 risk for tornadoes. Bottom right screen, the dew points are doing just fine. Once again, though, that warm boundary is struggling to lift, that warm air is struggling to advect north. This right here is the latest Rufus, and if you take a look at the top right screen, we have a more defined baroclinic boundary here with our temperatures and as well with our dew points. And if you do get storms latching onto a nice baroclinic boundary like this, they can long track. And you can actually see we have a lot of shear at the low levels and mid levels of our atmosphere. So the low level jet and then that 500 millibar jet where you see all these short waves forming in the top left screen here. So the Rufus I actually think looks a little bit more aggressive, which isn't surprising. The Rufus tends to be more aggressive, tends to overconvect, but I think it has a lot to do with this baroclinic boundary setting up here. It's a lot sharper on the Rufus. It's still sitting a little bit further south. I do think there is some bust potential today, but once again, this looks a little bit better defined and a little bit more aggressive than the HRRR. Now, one of the reasons I think our warm air is struggling to advect to the north in these models is this isn't your typical southwesterly flow spring potential outbreak. This is basically a winter trough that is digging down into the states. And you can kind of see this is the pattern we've been in and the pattern that we're kind of expected to stay in for a little bit. It's not that typical, especially late spring moving into summer, where you have this cold air diving in from the north like this. This is a very, very winter-like pattern. On top of that, you can see the HRRR is throwing a ton of precipitation, a ton of moisture through portions of southern Wisconsin, Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, and Ohio earlier on in the day. And if this happens, well, we already have cool air up here. This is going to rain cool our air as well. So this is going to absolutely nuke the instability, get rid of it before our main feature, potentially a significant MCS / QLCS forms here later in the afternoon and earlier in the evening. And if we have no instability left, well, there's probably not going to be too significant of supercells along this line, at least not in the northern sector. I don't think we're going to struggle to get some strong supercells down in this region through Missouri and portions of central to southwestern or west central Illinois. So 100% this right here in the morning, we have to watch. If this is more of a scattered event, if this isn't just a big plume of moisture pummeling through portions of the Great Lakes region and Midwest, if this is, like I said, more isolated, more scattered, and we have a little bit more time for daytime heating, and we have a little less cloud coverage, a little less rainfall in this region in the morning and early afternoon, we could see a significant severe weather day set up. It's just going to depend. This is a lot of moisture. This is a lot of rain cooled air on top of a upper level low and a significant trough that's already bringing cool air down. That's going to, again, stifle some of that warm air advection to the north. It's going to try to destroy our instability before our day even gets started. All right, we need to talk about the tropics. Here we go. Our low pressure system, I think the center of the low somewhere around here. You can see we have some significant areas of convection in here. There are some models now that do see this thing strengthening into a tropical storm or hurricane. The National Hurricane Center now gives our Atlantic Disturbance 1 a 60% chance of tropical development over the next 48 hours. You can see a lot of this moisture is already beginning to be funneled and pulled up to the north here through portions of the deep south and southeast. You can see our jet stream up here to the north, our upper level low here. So this is going to continue to pull a lot of this moisture again up through portions of the southeast. And that is why we have 1, 2, 3 days of moderate excessive rainfall risks. And then we have a day 4 slight, and a day 5 slight is actually going to be up there through portions of the upper Midwest and plains. This is what we're concerned about, though, along the Gulf states. Portions of southeastern Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, Florida. And then eventually Thursday, a lot of this rainfall begins to transfer a little bit north, and it includes the Ohio Valley. Once again, though, day 4, Friday, we're still potentially raining heavy, or we still have a lot of precipitation in the south. And we're talking serious numbers. This is just potentially the next 5 days. You can see a large area of 6 to 9, 6 to 10 inches of rainfall possible through portions of southeastern Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, and then potentially the western panhandle of Florida here. Not all models see it the same. It might not be a broad swath of precipitation, of total quantitative precipitation like the National Blended Model shows. This is the NAM where you have some, and I always talk about this, some localized or isolated areas of a lot heavier rainfall, just depending on how this rain bands. And you could see the NAM is trying to throw like 21 inches of rainfall just to the north of Lake Charles, Louisiana, and out to the west of Oakdale, Louisiana. Is this going to happen? We don't know, but there could be isolated pockets of over a foot of rainfall in a very short period of time. We're talking 3 to 4 days. So once again, if you're in a low-lying area, if you're in a flood-prone area, please make sure you're staying updated and weather alert as we push through this week. Take a look at this. The latest Rufus pulls this system out over the Gulf and actually deepens this low all the way down to about, let's see, 984. I mean, this could be a decent Category 1 hurricane if this happens. Now, this is just the Rufus, but I just wanted to show you some of the possibilities out here. If our low does get far enough out over the Gulf, some deeper waters, the water's very warm, it could try to strengthen. I wouldn't say rapidly strengthen. I don't think we're going to go through rapid intensification, but it could strengthen pretty quickly, and we could have a tropical storm or hurricane on our hands. Look at that, 982 millibar low with the latest Rufus moves into southeastern Louisiana. I still think, though, the biggest threat here is going to be flooding. I don't think the biggest threat is going to be storm surge wind or anything, but still best to pay attention. And as it pushes off to the east, too, we may have even a severe weather threat out here on Thursday across portions of the southeast. If we take a look at the latest updraft helicity reflectivity on the Rufus, look at that. We actually have some supercells pushing into southern Mississippi, southern Alabama, into the panhandle of Florida. And then you can see some of these updraft helicity tracks moving into Georgia as well. This would be as we get into, this is Thursday morning, Thursday afternoon, Thursday evening, and then this is going to be pushing off the coast there. You can actually see a little bit of a severe weather setup when you look at the 500 millibar and 850 millibar levels as well. This jet stream to the north could actually help with some divergence in the upper levels of the atmosphere above this low, or above this tropical feature moving across the southeast. So you could get a little bit of strengthening potentially as this system moves across the southeast. And you can see we have some strong shear across portions of Georgia, Alabama, panhandle of Florida, a nice 500 millibar flow that could help to organize some storms. So a little bit of a severe weather threat down here potentially as we get into Thursday across portions of the southeast. I really appreciate you guys watching this video. If you like this type of content, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you're notified anytime I upload a new video or anytime I go live. I will be releasing more updates tomorrow morning, and I will be going live tomorrow evening. I do have an awesome weather Discord with almost 700 weather enthusiasts in it that is updated with all of the latest information that I talk about in these videos and on live. If you want to join, the link is in the description right down below. It is completely free. Or just add Connor's Climate Corner on Discord. I'll accept the friend request and make you a part of the climate crew. Again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video, or I'll see you in the next live stream. See you guys.